Okay. Let's see what happens. $15. I'm just watching the bit rate. It's not giving me optimism. I even turned my air conditioner off to see if that was interfering. I'm back. All right, let's just push forward and we'll see if it gets better or not. That's all we can do. Okay, let's check out No Cult Rage. Okay, a couple things already. The vocal that happens at the start is kind of unintelligible, so I'm not really sure what it's saying. And then that beep 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 is very, very loud. Okay, I think this is sick. I'm not sold on the vocal. It kind of sounds like, to me, to be brutally honest, it sounds like somebody is like, it sounds like somebody asked someone to say motherfucking rage and to sound cool. And then they like tried to sound cool. Motherfucking rage! I don't know. I'm just not, I don't mind the words. I think the delivery to me just sounds like contrived or something. The drop is sick, though. Everything else is dope. I'm just not sold. Maybe it's just here. I don't mind it there. I think it's... I don't know. Maybe I'm full of shit. I have no idea. But to me, I'm just not buying the rage in his voice. It just kind of sounds like motherfucking rage. Like it kind of just sounds like I'm trying... like I'm trying to be too cool or something. I don't know. It's such a motherfucking rage.
motherfucking way. It's such a motherfucking rage. Break your fucking fuck your face. Break your fucking motherfucking rage.
So yeah, I think overall when it's in like the aggressive parts of the track, the vocal doesn't bother me, but I think when I heard it that first time,
Motherfucking rage.
I love the guitar riff, I love the drops. It's just the vocal to me I'm not sold on. I don't know how to fix it though is the problem, you know. That's why I hate giving I hate giving feedback without like an idea at least for you to try. But if you don't feel the same way, I mean, I'm just one person, but when the track
Motherfucking rage.
I don't know, is it like your voice and tuned down maybe? Maybe it's the tuned downness part because it kind of sounds like it's been pitched down a little bit in an attempt to make it sound more aggressive or like cool. And I don't know, there's just something about it. So take it with a grain of salt.
It's such a motherfucking rage. Break your fucking
Is the pre-drop vocals on Overkill Overkill? It's like more screaming, isn't it? I'm just trying to remember the song. Yeah. I don't know. That's how I feel though. I think that the track is exciting and heavy. I'm just not sold on the vocal. I think that's my feedback boiled down to one stupid sentence. Cool. Otherwise, very cool. Oh my God, look at the loudness on this. Kill thou. Yeah, it's more like scream as opposed to this, give it a try. Thanks for the time. Yeah, like I don't mean to narrow in on it and make it seem like it's terrible. It's just there's just something that's just not aggressive enough for what he's saying, and I feel like maybe it has something to do with the tuning down of it, you know. Anyway, let's check out this one that I'm gonna try to say. Nef, I'm gonna assume that's not pronounced as a J, but I'm gonna say it as a J anyway. Nef Jonizer, Lurid Move. Okay, I have a question for you right off the bat. This is a 320. Why do we have such an aggressive 192 look to it? Like why it's 320 kilobits per second MP3, but according to this, it's a 192. Okay, so I have thoughts. The first one is the sub bass is just like a rumble. I don't necessarily detect a note. So if I solo just the sub bass, it sounds like space and there's that bass music is the bass. It's right in the name, right? So you got to get your sub right. And that's the sub in your bass and the sub in your kick, and they should melt together. They should interact with each other in the proper way with sidechaining and stuff. But right now, I don't feel like you have a sub bass. I think you have the bottom end of all of the other stuff that's in this track just happening to be in the sub bass. So I would do sub bass separation. I have a video on it on my YouTube. That was the best sales pitch I've ever done. And basically what it involves is removing the bottom end out of all of your elements, all of your wubs and nasty sounds and stuff, right? You take it all out and then you replace it with a simplified, easy to control, usually some form of a sine wave or a filtered square, that sort of stuff. You replace all of the bottom end that you took out of all of these individual elements with just a very simple bass. That's mono. It doesn't have any unison on it. There's no weird phasing, detuny stuff happening. I mean, there are always exceptions to the rules, but generally speaking, what I would do is I would go and take out all the bottom end. So if I send this to a track, let's just try this for a sec. Okay, it does seem like you maybe have a sub bass in there, but it's kind of going all over wacky woo-woo style. See, like, I don't see like a solid line on a note. I see like a bunch of energy moving around. So if I do this and I do this and I do, I don't know. Not that. Not that. That's the one I was looking for before, though. Oh my God, just give me a... Okay. So like it's in D sharp, right? So that's just me. I just high-passed your track, and then I played underneath of it. I'm not even moving the notes around. I'm not doing anything. So that would be my kind of homework for you, is to do some research into sub-bass separation. Like I said, I have a video on it that explains it. Because that's going to get you probably your best bang for your buck. The next thing is it's just so very, 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 so very loud. And I think a lot of that loudness is coming from like your bass area. Let's play it again. Yeah, I'm not quite sure what's going on with the file format. To me, it looks like it's definitely been rendered out as a 192 and then maybe converted to a 320 or something. But that's whatever. That's obviously an easy fix. Render it out with the proper settings, you know. I have a pseudo sub from mid bass and kick. I saturate it and separate it in mono. Yeah. Whatever you're doing in your sub bass to me isn't working. It just sounds like an earthquake is happening and not necessarily in a good way. Like if you listen to the sub bass, it's just kind of like, it's just like, it's just a rumble. It's not a note. You know what I'm saying? So that's, I think maybe you have a sub bass, but maybe it's doing too much fancy shit. And when it's moving around, it's causing this rumbly sound. But like, I would rather just have, sorry. Oh my God, I can't. Yeah, I'd rather just have as the bottom end. 48 kilohertz unless you're making music for film. I don't think that really matters, to be honest. Most of the stuff I render out is 48 48 because I do stuff for TV, so I just leave it on 48. Yeah, so a few things. The master's too aggressive. Like it's too. There's just everything is at 100% the entire time. Like it doesn't feel like there's nothing. Sorry. It doesn't feel like anything isn't at its fullest, loudest potential level all the time, right? So I would step back from trying to make things loud and I would try to make things sound good and then try to make it loud after that. That's usually I think that's the better order of operations as opposed to just going for loudness at all cost, which kind of feels like what's happening here. It kind of sounds like it's so loud that yes, you've hit some loudness target, but it's like at what cost? You know? So I would chill out on the master for now. Like what's happening in the track is cool. There's a lot of cool dubstep kind of, you know, dun 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 dun, that thing. Like there's lots of cool stuff happening, but the fact that your sub bass is just kind of a rumbly mess, that's really killing the potential. Like if you listen to sub range, I couldn't tell. You can't tell me what key that's in. You know what I mean? And I don't know if you can even hear that if you're on your phone or something, but if I solo your sub range, I can't be like, oh, that's in D sharp. You know, I know it's in D sharp because I listened to not the sub range and I figured out that it was in D sharp. It's in the key of C. That's really good. So yeah, I'd get your sub bass separation sorted out. Simplify the bottom end. Oh my Jesus Christ. Okay, I skipped too far. Let me go back a little bit. Boy. So like, sub issue, it's hard thing for me because from my sub, my ear's killed. It's just painful to work with sub. I mean, what if you just turned it down? To me, I feel like you're probably, but maybe take the mastering off. Let it be quiet. Let it be weak. It's okay to be quiet and weak sounding initially while you figure stuff out, you know? Punch from the bottom. So just trying to make this pseudo punch from the bottom. I don't think it really works like that, dude. To me, the sub range, you know, there's other things that we could talk about with the mix, but I really think your best bang for your buck is to go and remove all of the sub range from everything except the kick drum, and then add in a very simple, like I use this. This is the sub synth. This is the patch that I made. And it's used on so many of my songs. Like, it doesn't need to be fancy to be the sub bass. Everything else can be fancy and messy, but the sub bass should be simple. You know what I mean? The sub bass just has to provide that bottom single frequency mostly. And then the rest of the color, there's a little bit of harmonics and stuff to help it blend in with the other basses. But like the sub bass should not be crazy like that unless you're going for a specific like conceptual. See, like I can almost, by high passing the whole track, I'm now able to kind of hear more of the elements in the track. But then when I introduce the sub bass back in, it's just like, it just adds like this level of like, It sounds like a microphone in a wind, in like wind. It sounds like a gust of wind hitting a microphone. Like that's what the sub bass sounds like right now. And also, I think I want to give you two takeaways from this, and I hope that I'm not coming across as like overly critical or like shitting on it, because I'm not. I think there's lots of cool stuff happening in here, but the sub bass, obviously, we've discussed it ad nauseum. Is that the saying? So I feel like I got my point across on that. The other thing is the mastering. It feels to me like every element in this track is right up against the master limiter. So I would rethink your mixing strategy. Sometimes it's okay to mix into a master chain, but I think it's important to every once in a while turn off that master chain and see what's going on under there, like what's actually happening in the mix that the master chain is maybe masking. So to me, it sounds like everything is trying to be maximum loudness all the time. And that's something you got to work your way up to. I don't think that's just something you jump right. You don't just like jump right to that. So I would focus on getting it to sound right. And then once you've got it to sound right, then figure out how to get it to sound loud. Those are my suggestions for you. Thank you for sending. Let's move on. I don't know what my internet's doing. I think it's fucking off. I'm just going to power through it. And hopefully next week my internet won't be so shitty. Okay, let's check out Multifox Nightmares. I'm confused. Damn. That is... I was off by a semitone. Okay, so our bell is in G. G-ish. Oh, you think A flat, G sharp? Oh, maybe you're right. It's like halfway between A and it's halfway between G and G sharp. Anyway, so okay, that's fine. Now, I genuinely am not sure what key we're in all of a sudden. Yeah, it sounds like it's now going... or something. So that's now in G. So the bells were in A flat-ish. The thing that's coming in, there's definitely this happening. But then there's also, there's something else that's in a different key altogether. Musically, this is confusing to me so far. I like the beat and the sound design, but yeah, I mean, like, I think the sound design and the production is cool, but like musically, I'm not understanding what's happening. It's truly nightmarish. Like that. Hold on. Yes, mission accomplished. Okay, that high frequency sound is an F. But then we're also in the key of a few different things. Yeah, just musically, it's kind of incoherent with each other. There's like different things happening that aren't playing along nicely with each other. Duh. I wish I could just. So now the bass is in F. But this part is in A. Yeah. Anyway, I think like the sound design and the production is cool. You've done a good job at that. Musically, I don't know what key this is in. I can't figure out what that sound. What is that? What key? I can't tell what notes those are. I'm not enough of a savant. Yeah, I think, honestly, dude, I think what you should do is get a bit more specific on what notes you're going to be playing on each instrument, because to me, I can appreciate the production and I can appreciate the mix and master, but I just can't with the music. Okay, so that's like a reoccurring theme, but then there was, yeah. My advice is to have a bit to go and figure out what you. I had a lot of ideas with this one that I wanted to incorporate. Yeah, I feel like there's too many ideas that don't work well with each other, all happening on top of each other. And I would go and do an audit on all of your MIDI clips and see what notes are actually happening at what time, and try to just bring it. I know like the idea is that it's like nightmarish, and it does very much sound like a Hall of Mirrors type situation melodically. But I would probably go and narrow that down into a bit more specific of a key, you know? Yeah, I would do that. I think, like I said, the production is good. The production, your sound design is always getting better every time you send something in, but every once in a while you'll send something in and I'm like, the key is wrong. The notes are not good. So, yeah, I think that's my thoughts for you, dude, on this one. I think I think you got to get a little bit more, even just like, for example, like these bells. If you're going to start out with bells, they should probably be like in the same key as the track. You know what I mean? So that would involve you tuning that bell sample to fit in whatever key you decide the track to be in. But to go through and be like, all these elements, are they in the right key? I think you're gonna have to go through and maybe do some investigation and maybe prune out some ideas or change the notes that they're playing, because a lot of the ideas that are happening, I think, are valid. They're just not necessarily playing the proper notes. So that's what I got. Okay. Thank you for sending. Let's check out Bat's Life 12. Is that what that'd be? XII? Anyway, here we go. This is a new record, ladies and gentlemen. This is a new record for the lowest bitrate ever submitted. This song is 48 kilobits per second. This could fit on a floppy disk. There's also some sort of hexadecimal message in the comments, which I'm interested to decode. 48 kilobits per second is, wow. It actually could fit on a floppy disk and still have enough for a little rich text file as well. It's going to be really hard to give you feedback on a 48 kilobit per second song. As you can see, we're on a tight budget of harmonics. There's only a few harmonics allowed. It's almost kind of cool in like an artsy way. Dude, this is borderline. This may be illegal in some states to render out a song at this low of a bit rate. So like, there's definitely some cool shit happening underneath the veil of bitrateness that's happening. But I will say there's some moments where the musical side of things has got me kind of scratching my head. Like right here. If you listen to, this is a good test for everybody to do every once in a while. Just listen to like a quarter note of the track. Harmonically, that's not really playing out that great. We got some conflicting notes happening, right? Meh. To me, musically, this part is questionable. The other parts of the track were pretty... Like there's some sick things happening, but I cannot really give you much feedback with the bit rate. But I am actually really pumped that you sent it in with such low bit rate. That is, you are now the reigning champion of the lowest bit rate ever submitted. I mean, like, you know, we're shaming people that are sending in at 256. That's basically like a hi-fi stereo system compared to 48. So, yes. Next time, make sure to render it at a reasonable bitrate. This could be hold music because like the old school telephone only goes up to around 3000 hertz. Anyway, there's some cool stuff in there. I can't give you really any feedback when it sounds like that, right? So next time, send her in at a higher bitrate. All right, let's check out Fresher and Vibe Tech. Everybody knows. I don't know. Okay, before we go on to this, I tried to get the master in between -6 and -3. And maybe this is not right, but I never look at that when I do stuff. I kind of just like see how loud I can get it before shit starts going south, and then I kind of back it off a little bit. But I feel like it's maybe a mistake to obsess over the numbers and try to aim for some ideal value. I think that you can get yourself into a bit of trouble doing that just because you're almost like when somebody listens to your song, they don't have a meter out and they're like, ah, yes, between -6 and -3. I think it's a good, I think it's a good maybe check to do to see if you're in the ballpark, but I don't think that nailing a specific RMS or a specific LUFS or whatever the hell people are using these days, I don't think that really matters that much. It's kind of a guideline. It's telling you, like, if you looked at it and you're like, oh, fuck, I'm -15. Like, okay, maybe, you know. But if you're -7 or -2, or -2 would be aggressive. But, like, you know what I mean? I think it's more about how does the track sound and not necessarily is this as loud as Skrillex's last release. You know, that's maybe, I think focusing your efforts on other things and not necessarily smoking a specific RMS value is probably a good move. But anyway, okay, let's listen to this. So far, this is very loud. I feel like it doesn't need to be this loud in the intro. It's kind of hard to listen to with my speakers turned up, you know? And I cannot understand what the words are saying. So far, I think this intro is too aggressive.
Give me some more. 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 Baby, come on, give me some more. Baby, come on, give me some more. Baby, come on. Baby, come on.
Okay, so my suggestion on this one is the drops are sick. I want to visually be able to tell what part of the song is the drop and what part isn't. So I think that I don't think you should mix and master the non-drop sections as if they're drops. Like give our ears a little bit of a break, you know, on the parts that aren't like I understand that part being like full on, but I don't think this needs to be -2.
Give me some more. Give me some more.
Because it's just there's so much mid-range stuff happening and it's so loud that it's just hard on my human ears. So I would pretty much just chill out the non-drop sections a little bit and let the drop sections stand on their own in terms of volume. It doesn't have to be, you know, like really, really quiet, but you are right up against the limiter the entire time, like the entire time. And I don't think that that's necessary for like the intro and build up and stuff. I think that should be reserved for like the drop sections. So I really like the track. I think that if the first part was like just a little bit more almost like normal music, you know, not full range the entire time, the master limiters just yeah, a little. I think you're a little aggressive. That's basically what I would change. I would let the non-drop parts have a little air in them. You leave a little room to breathe, you know? And then the rest of the track was sick. So it seems pretty easy. I mean, just like go and like chill out the non-drop sections and then you got a banger. Because the thing is, like, I don't think you're accomplishing anything by being that loud on the non-drop sections, you know, like I don't think it's achieving anything. I think you could be quite low in volume and then build it up and then hit us with that big volume in the drops. But I don't think there's anything to be gained by having it super duper loud in the intro and build up sections. So that's what I think. I think you did a sick job. Just chill out a bit when you don't need to be power fucking everything. Cool. All right. Next up, last couple, we got The Feels 2, demo version 2. Wow. Double it up. Got lots of markers on this one. Interesting.
I cross my T's and I dot my I's. Is this a dream? Or did I get too high? My trampoline. I guess I touched the sky. My self-esteem, I left that shit up in the car last night. Sometimes I'm down, and no one gets me by. I guess I'll drown. Oh, it's no wonder's life. I said, do whatever makes you better, that's alright. I said, take a hit and maybe sit down for a while. I said, just a kiss and that was it. I said, I'm proud of it. And then you asked me how I feel. It feels good. 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 Wait. It feels. It feels good. It feels good. Just an anti-social savage who's a pal of mine. You got medicated, everything I might just try. I said, do whatever makes you better, that's alright. I said, take a hit and maybe sit down for a while. I said, just a kiss and that was it. I said, I'm proud of it. And then you asked me how I feel. It feels good. 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 It feels.
Okay, so this is pretty sick. I like the vibe of this one. The markers, I don't know. Who cares? They're probably, what DAW do you use? They could be like warp markers in Ableton. It could be rhythmic things from FL. It doesn't really matter. It's just interesting. I think for the drop, the thing that I'm missing is, like, I don't mind the sound, like your main synth sound, but I don't find that it's necessarily enough to build an entire drop around. You know what I mean? I feel like there's maybe when you first drop, you could drop with just that single bass synth, but then I think there should be a bit more of a dance between some different sounds, because especially when you get kind of halfway through, you kind of expect, like halfway through the drop, you kind of expect something big to change, but nothing really big changes. I think you maybe add some drums. And like this, I like these pauses, but I find that maybe you're overusing them a little bit to the point where it makes the drop feel a bit clunky, because it's like starty stoppy. It's like start stop start stop start stop start stop. So like I think if you use those moments a little bit more sparingly, and a way to turn this into not like all you have to do is maybe add in like a kick drum, you know. It's probably not gonna work like, you know, like just don't have those big long pauses, because I find that it's breaking up the flow of the drop a little bit too much. So that way you the stop mess the vibe. The stops can be nice, but they should be treated as like a little treat, you know? It's like a mini egg. You don't want to eat mini eggs every day of your life. You want to treat yourself to a mini egg, or a bag of a small, you know, like a small bag of mini eggs from Walmart every once in a while. That's that's what I would suggest. Like those big pauses, they can be useful to emphasize certain moments, and you could use those as a little sprinkle and a treat. But I think that you're just kind of using the gaps a little bit too much in this drop. And that could be a place for you to put in another sound, you know? Like even that probably, it's rough, but like even that might carry the pace a little bit better. I think what it comes down to is like at the start of the drop, you can be choppy, you can be simplified, you can be basic, you know, like it can be a bit clunky on purpose. But once you get to like halfway through the drop, I think we expect it to be a bit more of a consistent vibe and flow and groove and less like starty stoppy. Cause that's like starty stoppy has its place and it sounds cool and it can be like cool, like, whoa, that was a sick little pause, you know? But it does break up the flow a bit. So once you get halfway through the drop, that's typically where the flow starts to flow a little bit more consistently. So maybe keep the choppiness for the first part. But I still think that in your drop sections, I don't know if you can rely on just that one synth sound with the drums. It might be a bit too basic. Like once we got halfway through the drop, I think I not necessarily got bored of it, but I was just kind of like, okay, like I get it. I kind of wish there was something else for me to like listen to that plays off of that sound a little bit, you know, whoa, 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 you know, like something like that. You know what I mean? Not necessarily boring. I think boring just has such an aggressive, boring is an aggressive word. It's not necessarily boring, but it doesn't hold my attention as much as it should. So maybe boring is the right word, but I don't know. Boring it just sounds like aggressively aggressive. So, but yeah, kind of boring. Not as exciting as it could be. Not as involved, you know, not as interesting. Doesn't have as many details for me to like soak up and like contemplate, you know? Kojak, you got to send something I can download. To load into FL, I can't click links and stuff. So just if you can send it in like the next 5 minutes, then I will load it up. And if not, you can send her next week. Okay. Yeah, that's kind of what I think. I like the M1 organ sound, like that typical kind of 90s house sound. I wonder if maybe you could incorporate that into the drop with this. I don't know, maybe not. I kind of hear like a whoa, you know, like one of those whoa things. But yeah, that's what I think. I think overall the track's cool. I would just be careful with the pacing and the clunkiness with your starties and stoppies and your gaps and your pauses and whatnot. They can be great tools to use to emphasize certain moments, but when you use them too much, it's hard to, because you're getting into the groove and then you stop, and then you're getting into and then you stop. And then you're getting, and then you stop. So at a certain point, I'm just wanting to, okay, now let me just get into the groove and groove for a bit. All right, that's what I got for you. Let's check out Pole End. Pole End. Here we go. So I kind of feel like, well, first of all, the start of this track just straight up confused me. I kind of feel like you didn't, I don't think you introduced the ideas that well. It just, to me, it's like once it got to it, I was like, all right, now we're moving. But I'm just a little confused at the arrangement. It just kind of... It kind of sounds like it's trying to drop right into a drop right off the top drop pop. Is drop pop here? But then it drops. This joke is so old, I forget what your voice clips this is. What joke? I don't know what that means. Anyway, I'm confused at the start. Once it gets to it, then I'm a little less confused. But now I'm feeling like the drums are underneath your wubs. Like the snare is, there's like a hint of snare. Take a rock to Poland. That's funny. I don't know. I'm kind of torn because to me the snare drum doesn't sound loud, but then like in this section it's clearly loud. Are you sidechaining to the snare? Maybe the tail is too long on the snare. What would it sound like? Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what I'm not digging. What would it sound like if you took the tail of the snare and you shortened it? So it, you know, it doesn't have to be like a took, but not, because right now it's like psh, like it's like a full 1.5 seconds long snare kind of thing. I really like these cool synths, the chord things, the brown, that thing, but I feel like they're being buried by everything. What if you built a section that was specifically for us to enjoy the sound of those chord things happening with like a melody on it or something, and the drums and the production just took a bit of a step back for that, and then you built kind of, maybe that's how you could start the track. Maybe that's how you could build the track based on this little section that has these cool sounding, you know, chord things happening with a cool melody. And then you build that up and then the drop makes more sense, you know, because I really like but there's so much other stuff on top of the chords that I have to like try to listen past all of the other things. You know what I mean? But yeah, in terms of like an idea, I think you've got a solid idea on the go here. I'm not sure really why, you know, like you don't just, I don't know, even that just, this section just kind of feels like a weird build. Yeah. I think you have something really cool with these chords and the synth and the chords that are being played. I would strip it back. Try to make a nice, not super aggressively loud section out of those chords and then go from there. I think you have a lot of cool stuff to work with, but I think it is a bit too busy. Okay, let's listen to the last one of the day. See through you. Wow, I really didn't read that middle word at all. Not even a little bit. Okay, let's have a listen. Okay, I would probably switch this arrangement up. To me, when you sit on like the root note like that, this now sounds like almost like the outro when it's just sitting on the when it's sitting on that root note. So let's switch this around. How I see you, where you when I need it. When I need it, you promise that you see me through. How I see you. You promise that you see me through. How I see you. Know what I mean? Like that sounds like the outro. That didn't sound like it sounded like you delivered less in the second drop than the first, which is kind of the opposite way that you should do it, right? So I would probably drop the same one you did the first time and then use that as like your outro bit where it's just sitting on the root note. The next thing that the next suggestion I would have for you is in kind of the opposite way that you should do it, right? Wow, my OBS. Give it a second for you guys to come back. I'm sure you're watching an ad. I wonder if that is a thing that people do. They disconnect and reconnect just to get more ad views. Am I back? It's not just you. My internet sucks today. Not your internet, my internet. Okay, so we're back. Anyway, what I was saying. Oh yeah, when I first played it and the vocal came in right off the top, it kind of scared me. Like it was like, wow, that's loud, you know? So I don't really think that it needs to be that loud. I think you should reserve that loudness for the drops. And then I also think that in the drops, I would, so you have like your distorted, noisy kind of main bass that's pulsing with it. I would like use the low pass filter in certain parts of the, like to give you a variation. So maybe halfway through the drop, you close that filter down and now it's more of a boom, 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 boom instead of like a full on, like just noisy, distorted. I like the way it sounds, but I feel like you have this knob that could create an interesting progression by opening and closing it, right? And you're not really you're only ever using that synth at its full volume and the full cutoff. What I would probably do, especially if you're going to play like here, when you bring her vocals in on top of the drop, that would be a perfect time to close that down. So maybe what this turns into is you drop kind of very similar to the way you did the first time. Let's see if I can do this. Okay, that's doo-doo, and then this is the down. If I made the tempo the same, it would be a lot easier. Anyway. This can go here. There we go. I don't think it needs more low end. I don't know. To me, maybe, but to me, there's bigger fish to fry. You know what I mean? How I see through. So then if you say you brought in her vocals in this, and I'm not saying this is the arrangement, but this is an idea. If you brought her vocals in, but you closed the low pass down on that synth, now all of a sudden there's a lot more room for her vocals to cut through. mentioning a lot of things I tried that I scrapped. Yeah, I mean, like I'm just trying to give you ideas to try for sure. I think putting. I don't think that's ever not going to sound like an outro. Like sitting like that root note thing, that just screams outro to me. I don't think it's going to deliver as an exciting second drop no matter what you do. I think you're going to have to go back to So those are some ideas. But I guess mix wise, I probably would just not make the rest of the track as loud as it possibly can be, because I just don't. I mean, I don't understand the point, I suppose. And I know it's like, louder is typically better, but if it's not the drop and it's supposed to be delivering like an emotional melodic experience, then it doesn't need to be 0 to 0, like full scale loudness all the time. So I'd probably chill out on that, and then try some arrangement changes, and play with the low pass on the synth. That might allow you to come up with some like different variations for the drops and stuff. Anyway, cool. Thank you everybody for sending. Sorry, Lil X, I don't do SoundCloud links. You gotta submit a link, or sorry, not a link. You gotta submit a downloadable file to the Discord channel. But I do this every Friday, so yes, do that. So maybe anyway, I apologize again for my crappy internet today. I don't know what's going on. Maybe it's so hot out that my router is feeling heated and too hot, but I doubt that very much. I love you. I hope you have a good weekend, and I will see you next week. Hey, bye. Muting the microphone.